Hello everybody, Digital Sticks here, and this is yet another video regarding Facebook, and I was actually well into take one that was going pretty well, except for, here's the thing. I want to make my main point right off the bat. So if you hear nothing else from this, hear this. I watched an excellent YouTube video where someone highlighted the negatives of Facebook. They pointed out the just the realities of just how invasive their privacy policy is and all of that, all these things that are right there in print, some of it buried where people haven't seen it, others that are plain and well known and still just kind of like not paid attention to. And he made a good point of pointing this out, but then he also made the point towards the end that, you know, he's trying to be fair that with the good and the bad regarding Facebook, regarding the Quest. Okay, I understand. He wants to talk good about the hardware because he likes the hardware. Wants to also call out, be honest about the Facebook reality. Here's the problem with that. Here's why. I mean, I can respect that, but at the same time, here's the problem with it. The bad associated with Facebook is by design. That is Facebook's agenda. The good is by necessity only for Facebook to achieve their agenda. In other words, there is really no genuine good. Facebook is not in VR for genuine good. Facebook is not in VR because it's a cool medium that people are going to really be enhanced by. Facebook's going to say those things because that's what they need to say while they're trying to sell their devices. And if you watch, it's only after someone puts a spin on something that Facebook is doing that you can have some people start to think, oh, okay, well, maybe it's. But your gut reaction to the stuff they do, for most people, is rightfully, no way. And that's the real deal of what's actually going on. And then from there, do you let the spin machine calm you down, lull you into playing along? Are you now not concerned about having a babysitter in VR? Does it now not matter if the future of VR is being inside of a cell phone with Google ads and the rest of it instead of having your phone in your hand? Because that's what they're doing to VR. As an enthusiast, that doesn't make me excited about the future of VR. And I sure as hell don't get excited about devices that are going to read my mind to let me play games when those are the people that are going to be producing them. You know, now Valve is supposedly working on that too. You know, that I'd have to just see what the situation is at the time. If Valve still seems like they're a game store and they're not getting into the data game, then maybe. But honestly, I'm fine with just having controllers for now until we know for a fact that people are reputable that are producing VR devices. I would definitely say Zuckerberg is not reputable for being somebody to hand your mind control over to, you know. And the thing is, guys, Facebook, they already have been busted and called out for, they did experiments of purposely putting sad stuff in people's news feeds and stuff. So they've already played those kind of experiments. And VR is a place where that is going to have that much more power if they start doing games like that. That's above and beyond the privacy concerns and everything else. And the censorship concerns. It's in their policy very vaguely, and this was pointed out by the other guy in the video, but, you know, you can technically get banned from using your Quest 2 if you flip somebody off. Not only that, but the hand tracking and stuff in games, some games don't even let you do it, even though you've got the ability. But anyways, obviously VR chat does. So, but only on an index for any avatar. But okay, so that's it though. But that's the critical point. You can say people are just hating on Facebook, this or that, but the reality is the negatives of Facebook is Facebook's agenda. That is what they are trying to do. That is their business. That is why they are taking their money that they've made from phone spyware and website spyware and putting it towards VR spyware. They are expanding their spying, they're expanding their experiments, they're expanding their data collection, they're expanding their data collection, they're expanding their value to the government. Who knows what all they're doing? But they are a billion-dollar company, not because they sell great hardware, not because they cutthroat cheap hardware. They haven't been making computers, they haven't been making phones. But making hardware was how they could get a head start in a monopoly in VR. So it's not about giving you hardware, it's about giving you the opportunity to get entrapped into their schemes. And that's really my point. Again, what is bad about Facebook is by design. That is what Facebook is doing. That is their agenda. That is them carrying out their real purpose and plans for VR. What is good is simply what is necessary, and at this point it's been what is the minimum necessary to entrap people. And then they've got the hype train because Facebook making a cheap device, that cheap device turns around and makes a great content for people that are promoting themselves as content creators. And the majority of VR YouTubers, not VR, the content, the ones that are talking about the tech and stuff, they're all saying the same thing, and just about everything they say in their breaking news, they just put an entertaining spin on it, but it's, if you just simply let Google predict what you'd like to read, Google gives me all that same news in my Google feed that's on my phone. I don't need to watch their channels to know. I just watch it. I'm more or less watched now just to find out, who's going to talk truth, who can I trust, who can I have some reason to believe has some integrity. I won't comment on who I think does, but it's just interesting to keep watching. I can also see the trends. I can see, for example, as I pointed out in the other video, the fact that, originally the hype and the context around the Quest was just what amazing value and what amazing job Facebook did creating this device that's only $300, and they made it sound as if you were paying for the device, and Facebook just through pure magic made it something that they could sell that cheap for a profit. They made it sound like you were buying the device and it was the best value. And then before we get into this whole advertisement inside VR on Quest, and also perhaps as a counter narrative to people like myself who are opposing everything being done against consumers on a device that they paid for, either way, the narrative over the last couple of months had switched, and they were being very, very clear, practically boasting that Facebook is subsidizing these headsets to make them the price point that they are. And then lo and behold, now there's advertising, and guess what? Trying to talk you into the advertising that, the advertising is what is helping make this inexpensive hardware available, and then it's also going to make the devs more money, and if devs make more money, we'll get more VR content. This has been going on for a couple of years now, guys. Honestly, most people I know that are VR enthusiasts are playing the same games they were already playing. There have been a few things like Half-Life Alyx and stuff that they play through and everything, but the multiplayer fronts, it's the same games that are still popular. There's not been that much new and exciting, even though there is a bigger user base. Most of the things that PC VR players play already had the user base there. And the extra people doesn't hurt, but it doesn't make or break the game versus what it already was. Case in point, VR chat. VR chat was thriving before the Quest ever existed. And it continues to thrive, and it's still the best experiences. The most common people you're going to find on there are actually still on PC. Unless you purposely go to cross-play worlds and you want to hang out in Publix and everything else, you're just not going to find that's a regular thing a lot of Quest users, and that's because they have limited battery life, limited comfort, limited everything. It's so at the very least, people that start out on Quest are still building gaming PCs, and supposedly the Quest was going to help make VR great because people weren't going to need a gaming PC. And yet, if you want a quality experience, you still have to build a gaming PC. And that hasn't changed at all. So nothing has really changed other than the company trying to build a monopoly and turn VR into spyware and creepware is doing just that. And they're doing it by slowly leading people into this ecosystem trap. The only people the Quest 2 is good for are people who wouldn't have VR anyways, and people who aren't extraordinarily enthusiastic, but actually treat it as a console that they'll occasionally enjoy, or maybe even some people that do it just for exercise and all of that. But avid gamers or people who become enthusiastic, the more they invest in that ecosystem, the more they are trapped into having to either sacrifice their investments or stay with Oculus no matter how bad they get. And they just keep getting worse and worse. So we shall see. But anyways, I digress. I'm Digital Six, and that's just the point I wanted to make. I would like to make better content. I used to. It used to be exciting, and other people are still hyping up different things. But honestly, for me, I still enjoy the VR that I have now. I still recommend it. But the idea of this ever-increasing adware nonsense stuff going on is not at all the VR that I was looking forward to seeing. So, whatever. But I digress. I'm out. You guys have a good day, and thank you for watching.